Arsenal, I was saying, slapped Newcastle good and proper.
Absolutely obliterated
The first half
them.
was... I watched the first half and then didn't bother with the second half. I went to cook dinner. But that period of play before the second goal, I think because there was like one momentary loss of possession within that entire build-up, but it must have been 40, 50, 60 passes before finally the through ball went in and Martinelli dragged it back.
I'd be surprised if that's high, because I think I'd have heard of it.
It was a lot, though, side to side. I think they lost possession in between for like momentarily, but they're just mesmerising. They were just keeping the ball so well. Newcastle couldn't get a glove on them.
Arsenal were outstanding. That's one of the best performances I've seen from any team this season. They strangled them.
Yeah,
they couldn't breathe, Newcastle. It wasn't just the in-ball possession. It was how aggressive they were.
Declan Rice, I thought he was just dominating that entire midfield.
Well, I think
he bossed it.
He was allowed to obviously go and press
further forward
in alongside as well, because obviously Jorginho was in the team and he was excellent, Jorginho. But then even when they got it out, like White was aggressive against Gordon, Saliba or Gabriel would go and be aggressive against Isak. Isak never had a kick, really. Kivior dealt with Almiron fine, no problems. Newcastle, I felt, worked out by the 40th minute, to be precise, that their only way out was to play the ball over the top. Started moving back into this back three shape that they did at Forest and started shoving Trippier up the pitch and trying to look for him in behind and moving Almiron into more central areas. And they had a little brief bit of joy right at the end of the first half and right at the start of the second half, but that was about their lot. And their only way out was literally over the top. And the thing is, if you put yourself in a foot race with the likes of Gabriel and Saliba, they're fine with it, right? Arsenal were outstanding. At the same time, Newcastle were horrendous. They have to be better than that. I spoke about this last week, about stop with the excuses now. Like, the majority of the back line is back available. The majority of the team offensively is coming back. Yes, there's still injury issues. You know, I forgive the fact that Isak's not fully fit, etc. Joe Willock has been a miss for them, come on and scored the goal. But they're not a million miles away from what their best team would be, and probably helped by playing Livramento against Saka rather than Dan Burn as well. Livramento had a difficult afternoon. Dan Burn probably would have had a more difficult afternoon. With the way they set up, that was the right choice to go with Livramento. Dubravka missed out with illness. I spoke about criticism of him last week. I do think he'll probably come back in for Karius, because I think Karius might be a different problem in terms of set plays, and his ability to command and create confidence in that area is no better than Dubravka, to be honest. I think I spoke last week about not ruling them out of the top four because their running is great, and I actually still feel like that. But they're probably they're in a zone where they're going to have to score goals. The last year when they went on them runs of like 1-0s and stuff like that, like, you just don't see this side being anywhere near capable of doing that till Nick Pope's back. I was thinking, Sudge, let's say Newcastle lose tomorrow night to Blackburn and their game at Palace is on, and I'm sitting there with 2 million in the bank, and I've got, let's use this as an example. I've got Torres and Porro both flagged, right? But if I'm heading towards 29, I don't really want to get rid of either of those two players, even if they weren't available this weekend. So what would maybe be a solution for me? Trips. Get Trips in for the 3 games. Wolves at home, Chelsea away, and then Palace away. And it's fine. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But I tell you what, my expectations on that wouldn't be expectations of what they normally would be getting Kieran Trippier.
I mean, 2 points per appearance, 6 points, and maybe an assist, 3 more points. If you get 9 to 10 points over those 3 games, 3 a game, 4 a game, 4 points a game, 12 points you'd be well happy with. But there's going to be no clean sheets in there, James. I don't see him keeping a clean sheet in any of those games. Which means they probably will.
I mean, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in a second. But it's a better game for Wolves going to Newcastle than it was playing Sheffield United yesterday.
If you didn't own Arsenal in terms of Saka, would you just get it done and get him in?
Yeah. Yeah, even if you're heading towards 29.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
but there's a chance their game could be on.
In 29?
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
If it is on...
If it's on, Saka's coming in for me this week, no question.
No debate. I'd almost have to find a way to do it, I think.
Agreed.
He will be captained by plenty this week. because of the Sheffield United home record. Arsenal have obviously another 4 off the back of scoring, 5, 6, 5 a couple before that.
I think they've scored more in the league in February than United all season or something like that.
Your commentator, I think it was Darren Fletcher, said on TNT, he said they'd become the first team in Premier League history to score 2 or more in 7 consecutive halves.
Of football. But that, as a fan, like you going into any half of football, we're going to score a couple of goals. 7 consecutive halves of football, you're getting 2 goals. That's a goal every 20 minutes when you're watching your team as an average.
If I said to you now, Sheffield United would get a 0-0 against Arsenal, what would your reaction to that be?
Ha, that's football. But it's unlikely.
To be honest,
a 0-0, no. If they were to, if you said they're going to scrape a 2-2 with like a shithouse set piece.
You think
goal
Sheffield United scored twice against that?
Set piece and like a penalty or something. Like
the only way Arsenal don't win on Monday night is if something weird happens, like an early red card or something like that.
And it is football, but yeah, I mean I don't see anyone betting against Arsenal.
That would be close to, I think. I think they'll be close to. City probably rule this out, but they'll definitely be the shortest price I think that will ever have been in an away game in terms of bookmakers' odds. And it will be one of the shortest prices, I think, for an away team in an away game in Premier League history. They should go there and absolutely wipe the floor with them. Just way too good against a poor opponent.